Hi everyone. So in this video, we're going to explain why collecting accurate data is such an essential first step to either calculating your carbon footprint or improving a carbon footprint perhaps you've already been developing. We're going to look at the key data you're going to need, and we're going to talk about our easy to use templates. When we calculate a carbon footprint, we use a thing called the Greenhouse Gas Protocol. This is an international standard that says, what good looks like, what needs to be included in a footprint, all those sorts of things. It's quite a complex process. We're going to use that as a guide for what we're doing here. We will bring some of the terms in, but we'll keep it as simple as possible. But if you really want to know more about it, go and have a look on the Greenhouse Gas Protocol website, and you can download the documents there and make sure you're fully happy with them. So one of the key things to understand is that the Greenhouse Gas Protocol breaks our emissions into three things called scopes. So scope one, called direct emissions. So these are emissions that are caused when you physically do something on your premises. So you light a gas boiler, you burn fuel in a company vehicle, greenhouse gases get emitted at that point. Scope 2 is its own little category of indirect emissions. So this is electricity essentially. So when you turn a light switch on, there's no greenhouse gas emission in your office. It's happening at a power station some distance away on your behalf. And then Scope 3 is everything else. So these are also indirect emissions. This will be where somebody else is having an impact on your behalf. So that might be the business travel your employees are doing in their own vehicles. It could be the business travel on the airline. It could be rail travel. It could be all the goods and services you buy to make your products. But we add all those together and it gives us a sense of what our total impact is. But crucially, it helps us see what those individual things are. So is air travel bigger than road travel or office electricity? Once we know where the biggest bits are, we can focus on reducing those. So data is obviously key to a carbon footprint. It's important to think about why you're calculating that footprint, because that determines how accurate your data needs to be. So if you're just trying to get a sense of what your carbon footprint is, you don't need to worry too much about the accuracy of data. If you're having to provide an external disclosure, for example, to government or to a customer, then your data will probably need to be more accurate. But if you panic at this point, don't worry, all right? It can seem really complex. Our job is to make this easy. We've done this lots of times with lots of people. So don't worry, you're safe with us. So first, let's start with what year we're going to collect data for. So the normal process is to collect data for the last financial year you were operating in. We align it to our financial year. It makes it nice and easy to make comparisons. So we'll assume that. So then in terms of what data you're going to need, well, we're going to break that down more thematically by area rather than those scopes. It's important to understand those, but we're going to try and make it a bit more simple. So ideally, we want what we call primary data. So essentially, that means bills. So that means how many kilowatt hours have you consumed, how many litres of oil have you bought, how many miles have you driven. And we get that information from bills wherever possible. So they will have all of that information on. For business travel, as I mentioned, we might use the distance you've driven, which should be in your expenses system. Rail travel, again, might be an expenses system. All sorts of ways we can get this information. So to help pull all this together and keep on top of all this data, we've got a nice standard template, which we're going to give you access to. There's a link to download that in today's email. And it'll also be on the Carbon Data Sprint Challenge webpage. So we're going to go through that in more detail in a future video, but what you'll be able to see on there is there's a first tab that tells us about your organisation. The next tab looks at what data we're going to include and where we're at with it. So have we got that data? Have we checked it? Have we loaded it into a footprint tool? And that just allows you to track your progress and keep some notes. So homework for this week. Well, look, it's going to be really simple. What I want you to do is to look at that template. I want you to think about what of the things that are covered in that template might apply to you. So is it electricity? Is it gas? Is it oil? Is it whatever it might be? And I want you to think about where you might be able to get that information from and who you need to talk to. So is it that you need to go and talk to the finance team to get certain data? Do you need to talk to someone about getting some other data out of an expenses system? Do you need to go and talk to your energy provider to get access to a portal to get the bills? So you maybe need to spend 10, 20, 30 minutes, hour tops, thinking about that and getting ready for next week. If you do that, it'll be a breeze. So good luck.